Hi
Hi
guys,
guys,
welcome to Annie and Asen.
today we are going to talk about financial literacy.
Yes, today we are going to be talking about finances, and this is as a result of requests from a few people who requested for us to talk about
Yeah.
financial literacy. So, what comes to your mind when you talk about financial literacy?
Save money.
Saving money.
Rule number one, save money.
Yes, saving money.
Yes.
And saving money does not necessarily mean just putting it in the bank. It
Yeah.
can be putting it in the bank and investing or doing certain things
Yeah.
that will increase the
Yeah.
money.
Yeah. Or you just don't spend as much.
Don't spend as much.
Yeah.
So when it comes to financial literacy, I think a lot of people mistake it as just being aware about money, but then in actuality, the practicability of what to do to be financially, I would say, free, to have the financial freedom, most people don't know how to go about that.
Yeah.
So, the first thing, so what would be some of the things that you would encourage people to do in order to be financially free from, let's say, debt, from bad choices?
Yeah, you just live within your means. You spend less than you make.
Yes. So, living within your means, basically, don't overspend money. If you're making, let's say, $10, don't spend the entire $10. At least save
Yeah.
like 40-50% and then live within the other 50%. So in an ideal world for me, I would say is if you're able to save up 50% of what you make or more, then you're doing good. Because that means that your expenses will be less than your savings, which is amazing. Yeah. And also, like living within your means, I think some of the things that you would do to live within your means would be to be able to say no to people when you have to.
Oh yeah, you have to learn to say no. So you can't be going to expensive restaurants every single week
No, you can't do
and
that.
spend, $200 for dinner.
And that's $200 probably like just for two people. And we're saying this out of experience. Like we had friends who we literally had to tell them no.
Yeah.
We had to tell them no, we are not meeting you up for dinner, because we used to meet up like every weekend.
Yeah.
And for us, we realized that we're spending $200 to $300 every weekend.
Yeah.
Which was a lot of money.
a lot
But
of
by
money.
that time, we were making money. We didn't have a baby. So, I mean, it was okay. But our priorities changed because we wanted to buy a house.
Yeah.
So we had to say no. So don't feel sorry, don't feel bad to say no to people when you cannot meet them, if especially money is at stake.
Yeah.
And the money is your money, it's at stake. So learn to say no. And I would say also, like, other ones would be like, just start small.
Yeah. So that was my next thought.
Okay.
If you can sacrifice transit time to work and for a lower rent,
Yeah.
go for it.
Yes.
Sacrifice, these few minutes in the morning or even up to an hour,
Yeah.
but save your money.
Exactly. If you're living, for instance, in metropolitan Toronto, it's very expensive.
Yes.
And the difference between where we lived before versus, let's say, someone who was staying right on core downtown is like $3,000.
Yeah, it's like three times.
Three times
The rent is higher than ours.
Yeah, the rent is like three times higher than ours. So for us, for instance, in our old place, we had chosen to live, it was like 30-45 minutes transit to downtown Toronto. And as a result, we were paying, let's say, $950. Versus if you're staying downtown, you're paying for $3,500 for the same space that we had.
Yeah.
So if you can sacrifice sometimes, especially if you're planning to buy, because it doesn't make sense to me, why would you be paying rent $3,000 and you don't even own the property?
Exactly.
And you're only sleeping there. It's not like now where people are working from home. Even when you're working from home, you just need more space anyway.
Yeah.
But you're just sleeping there.
Exactly.
But you're paying $3,500, and for some of the jobs where you're working until 9 p.m., 10 p.m., you basically have less than 10 hours to enjoy your space. So
and small things like, phone bill,
Yes.
internet bill.
Yes.
Go for the lowest.
Go for the
Go for the
lowest.
good service,
Yes.
but then the lowest of the lowest.
At the lowest of the
Because
lowest.
this is like a monthly bill.
It's
Like
a monthly
it comes out every month.
So it's a fixed cost.
Yeah.
So if you can lower your fixed costs, then that would be good for you in terms of saving.
Yeah.
So don't let yourself be in a position where on a monthly basis you're paying so much money. So lower your fixed cost. Your fixed cost,
Yeah.
your phone bill, that's every month. Your rent, that's every month. Your insurance, if you have a car, that's every month.
This is another topic.
Yes, Aiden and I have very interesting views on ownership of cars because it's one of the it's very expensive here in Toronto.
If you can, don't buy a car.
Yeah, if you can. If you can afford
yeah.
to stay without a car, push it as long as you can.
As long as you can, because we've done the math so many times.
Yeah.
Even if you buy a second-hand car, you start counting insurance.
Yes.
$200-300 a month.
Right.
Gas.
Yeah.
Gas is over 140 right now.
Yes.
So you are what, like around $300?
$300, yeah.
For gas, if you use your car to drive around.
Right.
Right. If you fill up the tank
every week, yeah. Let's say $300 a month, yeah.
Yeah, $300.
Yeah. And then maintenance.
Maintenance.
Let's say once every 6 months or once every 3 months.
So it's easy $500-600 fixed cost.
Yeah.
And
you haven't counted so we said insurance, gas.
Yeah.
Remember in Toronto, if you get $300 insurance, you're lucky.
Well, I'm talking about the lowest.
The lowest,
cost.
yeah, it's like $600.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're first time driver and if you are like
25, 23.
25 to what's the limit of lowering the insurance? Is it 30 years or 25 years?
I think if you're 25 and below, you have high insurance.
Okay, so if you are below 25 years,
so your age,
pay like at least for $500 a month.
Your age plays into, and if you're a new driver, sometimes in Toronto especially, they look at age, sex, the area code, the experience,
car model,
the car model. Yes, they look at all that in order to determine the insurance that you'll be paying. But so if you can avoid all those fixed expenses, avoid them.
The next thing that you can think of.
So the next thing I would say, stop buying coffees and hot chocolates
in Starbucks.
In Starbucks.
Especially.
Sometimes for me I would even add Tim Hortons. Starbucks, because both of us we used to buy Starbucks so much, but stop buying those coffees. Invest in a good espresso machine.
Yeah.
If you'd rather buy, for instance, I'll tell you, for us we invested in a very good Breville espresso machine, and as a result we ended up saving on a monthly basis, I would say would save, let's say, $300 to $400,
especially some people.
Yes, well, yeah, hot chocolates, let's say for instance hot chocolate at Starbucks, it's around $5.50, and that's just hot chocolate. And if you end up, let's say, buying for yours, you'd be like $2 or $3.
Yeah.
Because you used to get like the flat, right? The blonde. Yeah. So it was like $2-3. So every day we'd spend around $10 on Starbucks. Yeah, and that's like one time. So if I end up having 2 hot chocolates, I'm basically talking about $10 just for me. And if we're doing both of us, so basically $15.
The fancy breakfasts.
And the fancy breakfast. So avoid all those. Invest in a good espresso machine. The one that we have, it doesn't make hot chocolate, but it froths the milk in a very good form that I actually prefer, better than even Starbucks. So that way I just buy a hot chocolate on the side and then froth my milk and I'm good to go. And it makes Ace in a good espresso anyway. Yeah.
And don't go crazy about rebates and sales.
Yes, so that one I would say tread carefully. Yeah, don't go crazy, tread carefully, because sales will always be there. You'll always have stores offering you, like for instance, Sephora. If you're a lady, Sephora is one place where you can easily spend $1,000 on every shopping. Personally, I have a very expensive skincare items that I use. But what I do is I always wait for, let's say, the sales that are there twice a year, where I would get, let's say, 15 to 20% off. That's the only ones I'll go for. Other than that, I restrict myself from buying, because I realized that I was buying so much, because almost every 2 months they have sales, they have this. So I want to try all these different products. That was horrible for me. Like Sephora, I spent thousands of dollars in Sephora for sure. So now I'm only restricting myself to when my products end or it's near ending, that's when I will buy stuff. Christmas coming up, there will be a lot of sales. So watch out with your spendings.
Yeah.
So if you're a guy, the same thing, Sephora has men stuff that people buy. When it comes to cars, like dealerships, they'll offer you sales. So be very careful of all those rebates. Whether it's in a dealership or a regular store, they will always be there.
Yeah.
That's the purpose, to entice you to get to the store to buy stuff.
To let you know, oh, it's very cheap, and it's very good price, and it's a very good value for your money.
Yeah.
And then you go for it, and then you're in debt.
And then you're in debt every month. So always be careful, train carefully when it comes to rebates, and be financially aware of the kind of services that your bank offers.
Yeah.
For instance, if you're banking with a bank that offers you an all-inclusive banking and you can avoid the monthly fees, go for it. Because what happens when you get, for instance, an all-inclusive banking is that your credit card, the fees are waived off as well, and your transactions are more. So there are things you don't have to worry about, like the monthly payment of your bills. You don't have to worry about that. So look at the services that are offered in your bank that you can take advantage of in order to avoid certain fees.
Yeah.
And what else? Buying stuff, for instance. When you're buying, cheap is not always cheap. So both of us, we do like very nice stuff, and I'm sure everyone else out there, people love fine stuff. But the notion of, oh, I'll just buy it, it's just a $40 bag, it's just a $50 bag, guess what? You'll find yourself with 6 or 7 of those $40 bags. So cheap is not always cheap. In the long run, it's expensive. So if you're buying, buy something quality in that. Yes, it will. You'll spend a little bit more now, but then you'll avoid buying so many of those items.
And on top of that, you're gonna enjoy wearing it, right?
You're gonna enjoy wearing it.
Otherwise, you buy like 4, 5, 6 different bags, and then you end up not even using some of them.
Not even using them. Like for instance, actually right now on Facebook Marketplace, we've been laughing with ASIN because right now a lot of people are selling some of the things that they bought. People bought so many things. So you'll see bags, and this is ranging actually from designer shoes to like brand shoes. People are just selling out stuff. So this is because when the stores were open prior like to COVID, people bought a lot of stuff and now they need to get rid of stuff.
Yeah.
So when you're buying, buy good quality and limit yourself. Just because you're buying, let's say for instance, a Louis Vuitton or a Gucci or a no brand item doesn't mean that, oh, you're spending so much money you don't have to buy it again. No, there are people who they will buy Gucci every 2 months or Louis Vuitton every 6 months. So as a result, you're just spending more money on designer items.
Yeah.
So limit yourself, be disciplined. You have to be disciplined with your money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another thing, push yourself.
Yes.
Look for another job that pays you more money.
Yes.
If you wanna buy fine stuff,
Yeah.
you gotta get the income for them.
You gotta have the money for that.
Yeah.
So you cannot basically be spending what you don't have. You cannot spend what you don't have. Look for that extra job. And even when you look for that extra job, ask yourself, is the job just because you want to buy that extra nice brand name shoe or extra brand name cloth? What's the thing that you really want to buy? Is it buying a house? Is it a priority to, let's say, buy a nice shoe or a nice cloth versus a house? Like, be realistic with yourself. Be real with yourself in terms of like, do you have the income to be able to finance your entire lifestyle.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So those are some of the things that we would advise to check out on, and
Yeah.
check out on our next video. We'll be talking about finances in a family, some of
Yeah.
the things that you can do as a family.
All right, guys. See you in the next video.
Bye.
Bye.